This is going to be fun.
Okay, hi, I'm Susie Garcia, registered dietitian nutritionist, and I am here on a live Google Hangout to talk to my friend Afton, who is the gluten-free makeup gal. And just that sounds totally interesting. So I'd like to welcome you, Afton, and I think when you talk, then your face will be on the screen.
Oh, cool. Well, thank you for the introduction. I'm really excited to be chatting with you today because there's a lot of people who find that their dietitians don't actually believe them when they say that something on their skin hurt them that's not particularly gluten. That's a very rare thing for people who are internally focused to recognize. And when you first contacted me, I was so excited because you're supporting us. So,
well, absolutely. And I think it's, so I just want to start out with a few questions about sort of you and, do you have celiac? Is it simply a sensitivity? Tell me a little bit about sort of that health journey.
Well, to make a very long story short, I might have celiac, but I never got the testing done. Went gluten-free before I realized that I had to be on gluten to be tested. And by the time that I realized I needed to be on gluten to be tested, I was feeling so good off gluten that I wasn't going to do the gluten challenges. Weren't happening. So I think it's very likely, judging by my family's health history, that I probably do have celiac, but I am officially just gluten sensitive.
Okay, so, and for people that maybe don't understand that, you actually, in order to test for the antibodies, you have to have been ingesting gluten. And I've had other clients that have been like, I'm not going back on it just to have a test. So it is kind of a tricky issue. So, and for me, I don't have celiac. I don't have really any symptoms that would make me think that, but just some of the research that's come out about gluten and the inflammation, and it could possibly be related to Alzheimer's. There's just enough reasons for me to say, I'm just not going to do it. And I think I probably do get a little bit of gluten in every now and then. And for me, because I don't have that strong sensitivity to it, I don't have to be fanatical about it. If I go to somebody's house and they maybe use some flour and some gravy, I don't have to be like, oh my God, no. But as far as just the real basics, I really, really try to stay gluten-free. And I can tell a difference if I have had a little bit. It's just immediately get kind of bloated, and it's unfortunate. So how long ago did you decide that, okay, I'm off gluten?
That was back in 2007, so what, 8 years ago?
Okay.
Yeah, approximately. It's been a while.
Yeah, so that was before there were as many gluten-free products.
Oh, yes.
So I'm sure it was a lot more challenging. What was it who said something to you to say, okay, I'm going to try not eating gluten, or did you just look it up online, or did you do a cleanse, or what kind of happened?
Actually, it was my mom.
Oh.
My mom went through she had some dental work done. I don't even remember what it was now. And she ate just frozen yogurt for like 3 days. And she thought she was going to feel terrible because, all that sugar and stuff. But no, she felt amazing. And she thought that all of her kids needed to go gluten-free to try this. And I was skeptical. I'm the stupid person who will ignore obvious signs when I don't want to see them when they have to do with my health. Like, ignoring a headache forever. That's me. So it took me forever before I finally realized, okay, Mom, you're right. I'm sensitive. So here I am.
And as far as since I'm the food nutrition person, I like to talk about food. So when you were switching to, eating gluten-free, what did you find particularly challenging, and what do you do now that kind of makes it really easy?
Well, we'd always eaten inspired by Weston Price. So we were eating a lot of natural foods and that we made ourselves from scratch. And so lots of meats and lots of vegetables and just stuff that we'd made. So daily life in the kitchen didn't drastically change as much as it might have, but baking was a whole new world. That was so difficult to get a grasp of. It took us forever. To this day, we are still experimenting with gluten-free baking. And my sister's actually really good at it. I'm not. I'm not a very good cook, but she is. So now, really, my biggest problem is when when I'm trying to eat with people. So they want to invite me over to their house, and I'm in Texas, and it's a huge, huge deal to, feed people, to have them over after church on Sunday or something, and just to feed them a lunch. And I haven't, maybe it's like that everywhere. I've lived in Texas most of my life, so I don't know. But anyway, it's difficult to have a close connection with people that want to feed you and don't understand why they can't.
That's interesting. I actually lived in Texas for about 12 years, and now I've been in California for about 8. And it's people everywhere do like to gather, but it's a little bit different in Texas, and the cuisine is definitely different in Texas. I mean, it's not always at the forefront of the healthy living lifestyle.
No.
But, if I can give you a couple of ideas for that. And you could do things like carry, like, let's say it's after church or something, and just carry a protein bar that is gluten-free and is the type of thing you like. It might even be homemade. You can do it with some protein powders, and literally eat that like in your car on the way to the event. And then when you get there, most likely there will be a salad, or usually if somebody makes something, there's going to be something that you can probably eat, but you won't really get that full. But if you eat something beforehand, then you can just share with have the community of people and hang out. And, maybe all you're eating is the raw carrots and celery and, a potato. But then at least you're participating, and you're not putting anyone out like, oh no, you have to make it this way and all that kind of stuff. So
that's a good idea.
Thank you.
I've done a little bit of that, but not. You're right, the salads. I'm gonna do that next time. Thank you.
You're welcome. And that's that. So that's a little example of sort of what I do. Is I kind of I'll listen to what's going on. And the other thing is, if you're worried about the dressings, see if they have like a lemon or lime, and you can just squeeze that. Or most likely somebody will have some olive oil and some vinegar somewhere in a cabinet.
That's pretty good dressing too.
So yeah, that's great. Thanks for sharing all that. And I know on your website you talked a little bit about that your face felt funny, and that's how you started with the makeup. So tell that story instead of just reading it. I'd love to hear it just from you.
Well, I actually got into intensely in the makeup game kind of late. So I was already gluten-free before I started putting a ton of it on my face. And I wonder why. First thing that happened was I kept feeling internally sick. And I thought maybe it was because I kept eating out. It was because I was going with people and I was having trouble getting safe food. So I thought, okay, I'm just not going to eat at all. Well, that didn't help. I still felt sick every time I went out. And I don't know what happened. I don't know what I looked at. I don't know what triggered it. But I suddenly realized that every time I went to this event, I was putting lipstick on. So I called the company. And turns out there was gluten in the lipstick. So I ditched it. And I thought I was good. Well, next I put on an eyeliner that immediately inflamed when I put it on. Rubbed it off, called the company. It had gluten in it. Thus, my search began to see where gluten was in my makeup, and I found that it was in, I kid you not, very nearly every single thing that I had. But no one was talking about this online. So I was looking, like, what can I replace it? I love my lipstick. I want more lipstick. Where do I get this? And no one knew. I saw people asking, where do I get this? I called the company. There's gluten in it. What do I do? And so because I couldn't find the information to help myself, I just, what the heck? I'll just find the information myself.
Before you get into the delving of the information search, what are the ingredients that are in makeup that contain gluten? I mean, I'm sure it doesn't say wheat on the label.
Not usually. Sometimes it does, especially in some natural things. Like I saw it in a conditioner once actually,
Mhm.
and I've also seen it in a lot of moisturizers. Like you'll see wheat germ oil,
Okay.
which there is some debate, but because apparently you can technically take the gluten out of it enough that it comes tests as gluten free.
Okay.
But I haven't spoken to anyone who's tried that stuff and not reacted to it, if they typically react to topical gluten. And there's a really popular one is tocopherol acetate,
Okay.
which is it can be derived from corn, it can be derived from soy, it can be derived from rice, but it is also often derived from wheat. And it's probably the most common secret gluten ingredient in makeup,
Okay.
and it's really sneaky because everyone uses it.
So, how did you start your search?
Well, I started by calling companies and just asking them. And I found the first one that was really helpful was, I think it was Clinique. I
Hmm.
don't remember now. I think that's what it was. And they actually were the ones that gave me enough answers that I started to have a baseline for what questions to ask the next company. And so I basically just kept emailing and calling and emailing and looking up on the makeup ingredient lists that are online, and searching back where they're derived from. And then I eventually, once I started hearing back from people who had similar experiences, that helped me to know what else to ask. And it's just been a process of asking and searching pretty much, doing as
And
much
so,
research as
when
possible.
when did you start your blog and website and all of that?
It was, I think it's officially 3.5 years ago now.
Okay, great. And what what types of so I guess one question would be is are you doing, this blog as your business, and are you doing consultations with people? Is it just your gift to the world because you hate that people don't know? Just tell me a little bit about that and how we can support you.
It's a little bit of both. I started it because I was so frustrated, but once people started asking for more help than I was able to offer in my free time, I decided, oh, let's do something about that. So I am currently offering makeup consultations, which sounds like it might be kind of similar to what you do, except I'm makeup in your food.
Right.
Um, so I know a lot of different products that have a whole bunch of different qualifications. So I can help people find what they need in the gluten-free world. So say that you're looking for a liquid foundation that is soy-free. I can help with that. And
Okay.
you can find that at my website.
So you're looking not only just at gluten, but also other ingredients that people might have a sensitivity to as well.
Well, I am, although I have to add a disclaimer. I don't know as much about those kinds of sensitivities.
Right.
So if there is something that is secret soy, I might not be able to help. But I can at least point you to a company who advertises that they're soy free.
Okay. Now, are there companies now? I mean, just like we were talking about food, there's so many more gluten-free products that are available. Are there brands that label themselves as gluten-free for cosmetics and makeup?
There are tons. Just since I started Gluten Free Makeup Gal, there have been just this explosion of companies that either kind of were gluten free quietly and then suddenly started advertising it, or have reformulated to be gluten free, or literally sprang up from the get go as gluten free. Demand is high. I keep hearing from companies saying, "Oh, we get asked this all the time, so they already know how to answer." And it was not like this originally. Originally, we had just a few large companies that had canned answers that may or may not have been helpful. But with awareness growing, it's just getting easier and easier.
That's great. So now, do you affiliate with a certain company, or do you have like affiliate relationships with any of them, or do they sponsor um, anything like that?
I have some affiliates, so that when I link to a product, I can get a commission on it. but there's actually not as many affiliate um, programs as you might think. So for the most part, clicking a specific link on my site probably won't bring me anything. But they're tiny companies. These are companies that have put their heart and soul into making quality, safe products. And every bit of income that they bring in, they are putting it back into their products. And that's what makes them so great.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, and I think too, like a lot of the affiliate things that seems to be much more in like online marketing than.
Oh, that's so true.
Yeah.
It's true. And I have seen some very, how do I put this, spammy affiliate sites that are dedicated to having, they're writing articles just so that they can put affiliate links in there. And I don't want to do that.
Right.
Information is far more important. And to support me, you can get a consultation, and it keeps my content quality, and it gets you great information, and everyone's happy.
Absolutely. So how often do you blog?
I do not have as strict a schedule as I should.
Okay. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
I vlog a couple times a month. I also write for Simply Gluten Free magazine, so that's much more scheduled than my blog posts. But I do reviews, but I also blog about current hot button topics in the makeup world. And there's been, like, when the FDA gluten-free regulations came out, that doesn't actually apply to makeup. It's only for food, as you know.
Right.
But it still was a game changer for the gluten-free makeup world. So blog about stuff like that. And of course, all those lovely reviews.
That's great. So give us your website and the best way to get in touch with you.
My website is www.glutenfreemakeupgal.com. Okay. And you can reach me at, well, I've got a lot of social media linked on there, but my email is thegal@glutenfreemakeupgal.com.
That's fantastic. Well, so really, really excited about this interview, Afton. I thank you so much for being here. And I just want to ask one last question.
Okay.
What is your favorite band of all time?
Oh my gosh. How am I supposed to answer that?
The favorite band that you like. Okay, you can have three.
Okay. Imagine Dragons. Okay. I've recently got into All Time Low, and I really like Sanctus Real as well, which awesome. Are a smaller band, but they're really good.
That's awesome. See, I have to do something that's fun and silly.
Well, that's a great question. Now you can go look up those bands.
Yes, I've heard of a couple of them. So actually, I should write them down. So I know Imagine Dragons.
I'm so into them.
Low something?
All Time Low. I've discovered that they have amazing stories in their songs, and I'm a huge sucker for beautiful stories. So I just have been listening to them ad nauseum lately.
Fantastic. And then your third one?
Sanctus Real. They're also another good one with stories.
How do you spell that?
I believe it's SANCTUS.
Oh,
and then I think reel is just like a film reel, REEL.
REEL. Okay, great. Well, have a fantastic rest of the afternoon, and the Hangout is going to turn into a blog post for me where I'm talking about the interview, but we thought we would test out some technology on a live Google Hangout and see how that works. So we will see all of you next time. I'm Susie Garcia. You can find me at thesusiegarcia.com.
Bye.